All right, this is Mega Million of New Worl Sounz, and we're here, the very first show with Keeling Beckford. Keeling Beckford is a legend in the reggae industry, one of the original founding fathers of reggae music. Keeling.
Yes, how you doing, man?
Nice, nice,
Pleased
nice.
to meet
And
you. Yeah, I'm okay. Doing
Yeah.
all right.
Oh, it's good to see you. So, give us a little bit of background information about yourself in the music industry.
Well, my name is Keeling Beckford, okay? Original from the Rocksteady era. Rocksteady was long before reggae, you know, it was 18 months. So I come from the Rocksteady era coming to reggae. I'm one of the first 10 persons that record reggae songs.
And what was like your signature song that people know you from?
Oh, yeah, Keeling Beckford, Mr. Combination.
It's the combination.
Yeah, that was a big song in 1969. I was 13 years old when I made that song.
Wow, 13 years old. And that's pretty young, starting a music career. What influenced you as far as becoming a reggae artist?
Well, what influenced me, my uncle is a musician, Theophilus Beckford, also a singer, you know. He made the first hit record in Jamaica, so, you know, being around him, you know, it's kind of rub off on me, you know. And I used to go to church with my grandmother every Sunday, so I used to be in the choir. So, you know, that's where I started out.
In the choir. And you were telling me before that you were actually in the studio when reggae music
Started, yeah. It was a session, right? And you got a couple of musicians there was playing. But before that, they was trying to change the beat, you know, find something new. They want to get away from the rock steady, right? So this guy by the name of Winston Wright and Glenn Adams, they was there. So they have a beer on top of the piano, right, and next to the organ, right, and they was wrestling for it, right, and the beer kind of fell, and Glenn Adams go across the organ like that, and it give the shuffle, roar, and the engineer said, hold that sound there, come find it back again. Yeah. So that's how the whole reggae goes. The organ can ruku 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 ruku. So that's how they come up with the song.
Wow, that's deep. And for the listeners, I want y'all to know that Keeling Beckford, don't let his small stature fool you. This guy is a gentle giant. I mean, he is not just a reggae artist, but Keeling Beckford is also a music producer. He's also a videographer, music writer. I know I'm probably missing something else out of your resume.
I call myself an all-rounder. I've done it all, you understand me? Yeah.
And he was the first one to bring
videos
from Jamaica here to the States. As a matter of fact, give us a little background about that, how you were the pioneer of that.
Well, when I was in England, right, I used to go to the BBC, right, and I used to watch a friend of mine do a lot of editing and, you know, James Brown and all these American artists, right? So I said to myself, I've never seen anybody do this from Jamaica, right? So when I went back to Jamaica, I bought a camera, and then that's how I started doing everything. Come back to the States and I start putting out video.
And so at that time you were in England.
Yeah.
When did you move to England from Jamaica?
Well, I went to England somewhere by 75, and I come to New York in 76, and then I was back and forth between New York and London.
And so at that time, let's see, you had already, at that time you were how old?
That time I was going in about 18 years old.
About 18. So I remember you were telling me before that you were on the scene, on the reggae scene here in the States before Bob Marley. Is that correct?
Well, to be honest, I think Bob come here before me, all right?
Okay.
Yeah, Bob come into the state before me, right? But Carlton Coffee and a couple guys, right? We is the one who really built reggae in New York City, right? We perform in every little club, everywhere, you know, on the radio with Ken Williams, Gil Bailey, and all of these guys. Yeah.
And so you were at that time. Were you into the video? Were you doing the videoing at that time, or that came later?
That came later.
And you also, not only is he a pioneer of, not only is Mr. Beckford a pioneer in reggae music, but he's also a legend and pioneer in hip hop.
Yes.
Tell us about your
Well,
hip-hop.
I think I was the 5th person that make hip hop record in New York City.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
First, I know the first person that I knew of was a guy by the name of Peter Brown, Bobby Robinson, Sylvia Robinson, another guy, and then us, right? We produce people like T.J. Swan, Eddie Chiba, you know, a couple more guys, yeah.
Wow, that's really deep. What was some of the names?
Early hits like Rock the Message, Life on Planet Earth. Another famous one from another one, Bite the Dust.
What year was this?
That was, I gotta look back on the records, man. In the early days, man, that was coming up 70s, between the 70s and the 80s. Yeah.
Wow, that's going way back. So you're looking at a real, this guy's a legend. This guy is a monster. And it actually, in the short span of time that I'm interviewing Mr. Beckford right now, this doesn't even capture everything about Mr. Beckford. Okay, he's just giving you stuff off of the top of his head. There's a lot more to this artist. Also, you work with many artists, produce
I work
in
with
the reggae scene.
Oh, in the reggae industry, I work with the best. You know, people like Bunny Lee, Nine Onis, Lee Perry, Leslie Kang, JJ, E. Barnett, Black Marwell. I go on and on and on.
Wow,
Yeah.
you know some of everybody.
I know everybody in the music industry in Jamaica.
You know Sly and Robbie.
Sly and
all those
Robbie
guys.
before Sly and Robbie get famous. All right, I know the guy who teach him to play drum. His name was New Malcolm.
Wow.
Winston Grannon and all of these guys, long before Sly and Robbie come on the scene.
Man, that's you come with a Mr. Beckford. I told you he comes with a heavy resume, and you one of your influences was your uncle. You had an uncle who was
yeah, his name is Theophilus Beckford. Yeah, he sing this big hit in Jamaica called Easy Snapping. That was the first hit record come out of Jamaica, followed up by Alton Ellis, Muriel, for Sir Cox and Dad.
Wow. And you also had you have some other artists that you're related to in the music industry too, right? I think you
Nicodemus.
Yeah, Nicodemus, yeah.
Yes, Stanley from Stanley and the Turbine. All right, Roy Slickers from the Slickers. You know, a lot of us.
And I think you also told me that one of your relatives was instrumental in the developing of the group culture or the naming.
Oh yeah, that's my cousin Black Marwell. He was the one who named culture and recorded them at Joe Gibbs.
Wow, that's deep. I told y'all this is a living legend here, and you're also working on some current projects too,
Yeah, I have a new album coming out. Yeah, you can hear it.
Wow. And you also have your own radio program as well.
Yes,
right?
I'm on 93.5 FM. That's WVIP every Monday night from 12 to 1. It's called the Keeling Super Mix.
And also, we are in Mr. Beckford's store. Okay, he owns a store right here in Brooklyn. Give us, a matter of fact, give us a little background about how you started, how you opened up the store. And...
Well, this store was here from 1960, right? This is the first Caribbean store in New York City. It's called Randy's Record. Okay, I inherited in that's 90 what was in somewhere in 95. So I've been running it from 95 to 2003.
From 95 to 2003. Wow. And
2000, well, we 2013. They said 2003. We in 2013.
Yeah, 2013. 2013. And you also have your own recording studio as well.
Yes, we have. Yes, that's Studio 13 Brooklyn Sound.
Studio 13 Brooklyn Sound. Wow, this is I told you, this man is a legend. He's a music producer, entrepreneur, has his own recording studio. I mean, this guy is just awesome. And you were telling me something before about a project that you're working on as far as the history of reggae.
Oh yes, I've done. This is the second one I'm working on. The first time the one I worked on was the history of reggae with some people from BBC. That was about 4 or 5 years ago. And what I'm doing now, I'm working on a documentary with Jack Ruby. That's the famous Jack Ruby. He's the grandfather for Sean Kingston. Yeah, so I'm doing this stuff on him right now.
Wow. And what's the name of that documentary?
It's called Reggae Time.
Reggae Time. And I also want the listeners to know that documentary, when it comes out, I am the first. I am the first customer. I paid him money already,
yeah.
So I'm going down in history.
Yeah, you already paid for it. Yeah.
I'm in the world records as the first person to purchase that documentary, and man, I can't wait until it's done. Now, what like, let's say that if any aspiring young artists were looking to work with you.
Well, yeah, if any inspiring young artists out there, you can come and see me. I'm here every day, you know. I'll take a listen, you know, listen to you. And if you got the right stuff, I'll work with you.
Now, what do you think about as far as like where reggae music is going, and reggae music nowadays as opposed to reggae music back in the time of your time, Bob Marley's time, Burning Spear, you know, those early pioneers? What do you have to say?
Well, reggae music is huge. Yeah, a lot of people think it's a small thing. No. Reggae music is a big gold mine. Yeah, very huge, right? Yep. It's only you got a lot of changes, right, over the years. Well, you know, with the new generation, well, they're doing their own thing. You understand me? It's kind of different from what we Bob Ken Boots and Errol Dunkley and John Holt. We kind of do a more different type of lovers rock type of reggae, different type of reggae. No, it's the kind of dancehall thing. You understand me? Right? But it's kind of okay to me. I only have, a little problem with a couple of the lyrics, Yeah, that's only my problem.
What's the issue with the lyrics?
Well, they're off key. If they're not singing on the beat, right? They just off key, and that's why they call it dancehall, right? It's not too proper, so they call it dancehall. But it's work for them, and it works.
Yeah, because I know there's like the different phases of the music.
Got the dancehall, the original type of reggae, and you got lovers rock. I'm mostly a lovers rock artist. When reggae started out first, it was the organ playing go ruku ruku ruku. Then afterward they bring in the guitar, chick 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 with the one drop, you know, and come right up, you know. And over the years you improvise and fine tune, and it changes as it goes along.
Yeah, because I know you have a CD here, the 50 years of reggae
Music,
a compilation. Fill
yeah.
us in about that.
Well, that was something that Trojan put together, right? Because Trojan was the company over the 60s who used to release all of the songs them in London. Trojan is the one who really built reggae over Europe, you know. So what they did, they put out a CD, 50 years of reggae music. Every year they put out one.
Every year they put out one.
Yeah, every year they do that, yeah.
And wow. Do they have any of your songs in that?
Yeah. They just released one called Island Trojan, right? It's have 50 tracks in it, all right? I think I'm number 17 on the tracks, yeah. For this year. But I'm on a lot of Trojan. Matter of fact, I got something like 9 releases on Trojan. Yeah.
Wow. And now, when you first came out in the industry, what record label were you on?
Oh, I started out with Deltone, right? That was a female producer. That was the second female producer in Jamaica.
Wow.
Yeah, the first female was Sonia Pottinger. Then the second was E. Barnett.
So you on that was
that was one label that I come out on, right? You didn't have a lot of female producers. You got female singers and, you know, DJs, but you didn't have a lot of female producers. It was only 2 in Jamaica in the late 60s, early 60s, going into the 70s.
And so after that label,
after that label, I went to GG, yeah, and GG, JJ, Bonnie Lee, 90 Upsetter, you know, I come on a lot of labels, yeah. Then I started producing my own self, you know, and started my own label. That's 12 Star Record.
Like I said, this man comes with a heavy resume.
Like I said, I work with all the top producers in Jamaica, you know. Yeah. Juke Reed, you know, I know everybody. Everybody in the industry. I can tell you that everybody in the industry know Keeling.
Wow. And tell me, what was it like? I'm a huge Bob Marley fan. What was it like working with Bob? I remember before you were telling me about his personality. And
Bob is a really playful guy, right? Yeah, so I work with Bob, like, studio-wise, we always hanging out at the studio, like Studio One, Dynamic Sound, you know. Right. Those was the 2 main studios you always find Bob. Then by Randy's, downtown Kingston, right? We used to have a corner we call the Eyeglass Rest, right? If you're a singer and you want to make it, you got to come on the rest. Yeah, it's just like a college, you know. You got to come there and get your first lesson.
The difference between, like, DJing and, like singing.
DJ is like toasting, you understand me? Right? Yeah, you just talk on top of the rhythm track, right? Singers, we sing. You got to learn to sing, you know. It's not like now where anybody can come in the studio and say they're voicing something like that. No, the producer gotta hear you. You understand me? And if you're not right or, you know, can't hold a note, he tell you go back home and practice and come back. You understand me?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So it was more. It was
stricter, hands-on thing, right? Yeah. You just can't come inside the studio and say you're a singer. No. You have to go through 4 or 5 men before you enter the studio. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So the standards was much higher.
Much higher. Yeah. Bob Marley went through a whole lot of things too. Yeah. If you watch an interview with Bunny Wailers, he tell you the guy who used to rehearse them was Joe Higgs, you know. Yeah, Joe Higgs drilled them hard, man. And when they're ready to come to studio, go to the studio, some guys say, yeah, they're ready now, you know. And Drake said, no, don't boss swell up them head, they don't ready yet. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
man.
that was Bob Marley, yeah.
Yeah, like I told you, I'm sitting here or standing here next to a legend, actually a dinosaur in the music industry, a dinosaur in the reggae industry, and also a dinosaur in hip hop, a legend in hip hop. And that's, you see, New Worl Sounz, that's what the whole concept behind New Worl Sounz is. We go and into all of the diaspora, all of the New World African diaspora, and we bring you the best of the diaspora music, and we show the connections between the music, you know, and definitely Keeling Beckford is an embodiment of that whole connection, you know, the whole connection with hip hop and reggae music. You know, as a matter of fact, hip hop, the father of hip hop is Kool Herc, who was a Jamaican.
Yeah, hip hop come from Jamaica, you know. Yeah.
Boy, Keeling, man, I wish we had more time. I mean, it's like I told y'all, we're just getting started with Keeling. Y'all have no idea. This is Keeling Beckford. Y'all treasure him while he's here. Pick his brain, because he's a walking encyclopedia as far as reggae music is concerned. I mean, I've sat down and he's just, you know, gone for hours, you know, giving me, you know, the whole history, you know, and what we're doing right now is just the tip of the iceberg. You know, he needs a whole book and a whole documentary, you know, to really tell his whole story. And I think you're working on a book too, right?
Yes, I'm working on a book called Beat Street, Orange Street. As I used to tell my friends, I don't need no Google, you know, because I was there before Google. Yeah.
That's right. He's a walking encyclopedia. He can tell you everything about reggae, not Googling, not getting on the internet and stuff. He could give you off of the top of his head.
For that, man, yeah. Google don't know when I was there, yeah. None of them guys who talking, they wasn't around, right? Yeah, I never see them on Orange Street. I never see them around the studio, you know. So they can't tell me anything.
That's somebody who was right there. So, like you said, you can't come and tell Mr. Beckford about reggae because he was right there. He was right in the midst.
I was happening to be right there when they create the sound, all right? And nobody could spell the name reggae, all right? All right? There was a guy he used to write a music column, all right, called Swing Magazine, all right? I don't remember his name right now. And it used to spell Reggay.
Wow. So it went from Reggay to Reggae.
Yeah.
So it was just how did they pronounce it? It was pronounced when it was Reggay. It was pronounced still reggae, or was it another pronunciation?
Reggae. What I heard from Bunny Lee, all right. He said, because Bunny Lee is one of those big producers that travel London and all these places before me, right? There was a guy by the name of Lee Gapton come to Jamaica, and that time it was changing from the rocksteady to reggae, and he liked the sound because when reggae started in Jamaica first, you know, a lot of people didn't like it, you know. They didn't like it. Some of them said, nah, it's not gonna work and things. But Lee Gapton was the one who took it to London, right? And then he started playing it, you know, and the skinhead, you know, British skinhead, you know, I like Jamaica Rude Boys, right? Yeah, they was the one who gravitated to it and start promote the music.
Wow. Yeah, because I know it took off in London before it really picked up here in the States, right?
New York, America is the last frontier.
The last frontier.
Yeah, reggae was big
Shame
all
on
over.
you.
It was big in Europe years before, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember when I listened to a documentary with Chris Blackwell when Bob Marley was on the label, and Bob Marley wanted to promote his record in the States, you know, and he told him, no, it's not gonna work, right? Let's hit the white kids first, you know. That's the people who buy the music more than anybody else, you know what I mean? Yeah, they was the one who gravitated to reggae.
Yeah, you first, know, you're right. Yeah. Yeah.
I took credit for it too.
Yeah,
like Sting and
right, the police and the new wave, that whole new wave craze.
Right? Because the early Jamaican artists like Millie Small, Desmond Dekker, Prince Buster, Owen Gray, all of these guys make it big in London. Yeah. Nicky Thomas, right? Like before Bob Marley, Nicky Thomas was one of the biggest singers in London. A lot of people don't know who Nicky Thomas is. He's the only man who hit the British chart about 4 or 5 times.
And what was the name of his
Love of the Common People, If I Had a Hammer, a whole lot of songs. Yeah. He died now, but he was a top guys in those days with the Pioneers and all of these guys.
Wow. Like I told you, we're just getting started. Keeling Beckford is a dinosaur, a living legend. I don't think there's anybody alive today that has the history that Mr. Beckford has.
Hey, I was around the business from it was ska before reggae.
Yeah. Give us a little background about that for the listeners who don't know.
Well, the first music in Jamaica was mento, then it come to ska, you know. Well, my uncle, he knew a lot about ska. I'm from the Rocksteady heroes, but as a little kid, you know, I used to go around with him, you know, listen to people like Toots and the Maytals, Justin Hines and the Dominoes, you know, the Gay Lads, and, you know, a whole lot of ska, you know, regular, the Scatterlight, you know, with Roland Alfonso and Tommy McCook and all of these guys, right? You used to have Byron Lee, you know, Lynn Tate and the Jets, and a whole lot of...
Unfortunately, you know, all good things must come to an end.
Definitely, anytime, man, anytime, yeah.
Okay.